Today I was working on planning out all the videos and projects and blog posts that I wanted to share with you, and I put them all on a content calendar. In fact, I have a video for that. I'll link it above if you're interested in how I plan for videos and for blog posts. Anyway, I was going through all that today and I came across some videos that I completely forgot to share with you. It's a little project of a little sewing table from the 1930s or 40s, and I made it over and it's just so cute. Let me show you how I did it. To protect the area where I'm working, I like to take one of these large pieces of cardboard that I have and protect the floor, and then I can put my project right on top of that. Then I take my shop vac and I go over the whole piece. This is a wonderful time to see if I need to make any repairs or any of that, but I find that using the shop vac gets rid of an awful lot of dirt. The next step is to thoroughly clean this piece with a solution of simple green and hot water and my microfiber cloth. I go over every single square inch of this adorable little sewing cabinet to make sure that I've removed any dirt and grime that was left on it. This sewing cabinet is from the 1930s or 40s, so you can imagine the grime and the dirt have really built up. To be sure that there isn't any soap residue, I took another cloth and clean water and I went over the whole piece again. You're going to see here in a minute the amount of dirt that I just kept wiping back and wiping back. And this is not all just dirt. Some of this is the stain over the years. It's kind of leaching out of the wood, and you're going to see that on the cloth here in just a minute. And that was pretty dirty, wasn't it? So here the piece is all clean. It's completely and totally clean. So you can really see how orange it is and even some reddish tones. Those are the tannins coming out of the wood and possibly leftover stain from years and years and years ago. And we need to seal all that in so that it does not bleed through our paint. One of the best ways to seal all that in is with a natural base shellac. I like using this clear shellac because you'll see later in the video, I wanted to create like a crackling finish, and this is an easy way to do that, as well as sealing in all the tannins and the stains. We don't want any of that red and orange tone coming through the pretty paint color that I've chosen for this piece. I applied 2 coats of the shellac. The first coat went on, I waited about 30 or 40 minutes, and then I applied the second coat, and I let it dry for several hours just to make sure that all of the shellac was completely dry. Now for the fun part, we're going to paint this little sewing cabinet. I chose to use Miss Mustard Seeds milk paint in the color Layla's Mint. It's a beautiful soft green that almost is a neutral. It's just really a lovely color. It doesn't scream green, it's just nice and soft. I really love that. I also love using milk paint. Miss Mustard Seeds milk paint, you use this equal parts of water and dry powder. You mix it up in a little container, let it sit for a few minutes, and then you're ready to paint. I decided to use this small brush, especially because these small spindles that I'm painting right now, you don't want a lot of paint because it's going to run. Milk paint is a thinner consistency of paint and it will run. So you'd have to be careful with that. You don't want to waste paint. So I find that if I use a small brush and get a small amount of paint on the brush, it's easier to control. I applied 2 coats of the paint and I allowed plenty of time to dry in between. And look at this beautiful finish. Look at that crackling. That's because of the shellac. It just creates this natural old look to any piece that you have. So a little bit of that dark wood is showing through, but it's hiding all of the orange. Oh, I just love this look so much. This is my favorite paint to use, especially when I'm looking for a vintage farmhouse look. I want to create a chippy finish on this little sewing cabinet. So I'm taking the flat edge of that kitchen knife. By the way, I do not use this knife any longer in my kitchen. This is only for distressing furniture and creating a chippy finish. But I just take that flat edge and I very carefully go around the edges of the legs. You can see there how I'm creating that and some of the high places on the spindles. Here's a better look at that, a close-up shot. You can see I'm not gouging the furniture. All I'm doing is scraping off some of the paint around the edges where it would be worn. Then I take a flexible sanding sponge and I go over the whole surface that I've painted. The flexible sponge is really easy to go around. It makes it so easy to go around all of the spindles because it just forms to my hand. I just smooth it out and this creates quite a bit of dust. So afterwards, I need to give this whole piece a vacuum with my shop vac that you see there in the corner. I cannot live without my shop vac in the garage, in my workspace. It is a piece that I use all of the time. I grabbed a piece of 150 grit sandpaper and went around the inside of the edges. I didn't want to paint the inside of the cabinet. I'm kind of funny about that. I don't like to paint the insides of furniture. And I do like it to look as clean as possible. So that 150 took off quite a bit of the paint that kind of spilled over with the paintbrush. Now that everything's cleaned up, let's seal this piece. I decided to use Miss Mustard Seeds hemp oil to seal this piece. Let me first of all say the hemp oil does not come in a pump bottle like you see there. I buy hemp oil by the gallon because I use it a lot, but it's not easy to maneuver a gallon of hemp oil and I don't want to waste it. So I like to use this little pump bottle that I bought because it had soap in it, Neutrogena soap to be exact. And the bottle itself makes a wonderful dispenser for the hemp oil. I can put my paintbrush, in this case I'm using a little chip brush, a natural bristle brush, right up to the pump. I put a little bit of hemp oil on it and then I can just go to town. Hemp oil goes really far, you don't need a lot, but it is nice to have that paintbrush to do it. You can get into all the nooks and crannies of the spindles and all over the whole piece. This just makes easy work. You can also see how the hemp oil soaks into that dry milk paint and just really enhances the color. It deepens and enriches the color of the Layla's mint green that I told you about at the beginning of this video. Doesn't that look so pretty? I love applying hemp oil. It's super easy to use. It seals the paint and it's really good for the wood because it soaks into the surface of the wood and just really nourishes the wood. After applying the hemp oil, I let it sit for at least an hour or so, sometimes several hours or even overnight, and then I come back in with a blue shop towel and wipe away all of the excess on the entire piece.